Okay, so what is your opinion on SAT optional application?
Well, it gives a lot more room for corruption because the College Board is one large entity, and it sometimes takes bribes now and then, but it requires a massive amount of money to actually bribe it successfully. But if you compare that to normal public schools, since GPAs are going to be more important now, it's a lot easier to bribe a public school teacher because they're being paid so little. So you don't need to pay that much to bribe them.
I think it means that colleges are admitting that the SAT is becoming useless, and they're looking at other factors to determine your application standing.
Um, well, I feel like it definitely gives like other students that are like not necessarily good at taking tests a better opportunity to like use like their extracurricular activities to like get into like good colleges. But um it's for me, I feel like it's sort of, it's like kind of unfair for like some people that like that actually like pays a lot of hard work into SAT, and because like if it's optional, like, you can just not do it and you can just get into the same schools.
Let's assume a person who knows SAT is optional and doesn't want to take it anymore. How do you think colleges can evaluate his intellectual capacity and distinguish him from
They
other
look at that
applicants?
student's GPA and pray that the student did not bribe any of their teachers and extracurriculars.
I would say that's why colleges have interviews. Like, they need to see who the person is as a character, because like anyone can get a 1600 and straight A's. They could be like a robot.
It's kind of hard to kind of replace SAT, but you can kind of use the extracurricular activities to kind of, or also like the college essays, you can kind of see how where their ability is, and then how like kind of if the students is what this colleges really want, just based on like their essays on, and then their extracurricular activities.
Expand on your argument of how SAT is useless.
Well, the SAT only has 3 sections: English, English. Actually, four sections: English, writing, math, and then a second math section. And people just memorize if people just practice a lot, they can get a 1600. So it's not really a true indicator of intelligence.
SAT or ACT, I feel like those are standardized testing, but like I've heard like some people say that they're like they're kind of like IQ testing, like actual tests. So basically people who are like smart, like can get, because SAT isn't like those kind of. To me, I feel like SAT or ACT, they're not. You don't need to like be like super good at English or math to like get a good grades. You can just use like a lot of strategies to like get a good grade. So then there's no like value of that SAT, because then there's no indicator of where if you're actually good at English or math or not. It might just mean that you're good at taking the test. So like I feel like that's why like kind of colleges need kind of care less about SAT and more like your GPA, because GPA is actually where you've been how you've been performing in the school. So it definitely shows like a clear kind of your ability in school, and how good you can perform in school. And then also like extracurricular activity is definitely like, it definitely shows like your ability and like your commitment, and like what major you're gonna major in. So SAT, I feel like, just not that good of an indicator.
How does the test optional policy affect your planning?
It doesn't affect my planning at all.
No.
Well, it doesn't really affect me, because I was gonna take SAT like anyways, because I didn't, because even though it's optional, I still want to take it, because as I said, I'm like one of those people like who are like decent at like taking tests. So like even though it's like optional now, I would still like take it and then offer it to the colleges, my score. So then I'm guessing that might be like one of those like maybe one of the advantages that you can have of taking the SAT.
If you don't submit an SAT to a place where an SAT is optional, that gives them an indicator that you're afraid to take the SAT, or like you didn't get a good score. If you didn't take it, that means you're either afraid or you got a bad score. So it would be bad for you anyway. Optional in this case is more like optional but recommended. people used to judge a lot of things based on your SAT score, and people still do today. It's just less socially acceptable to do so than before. They will still take it and put the score on their application for the sake of putting it on there and furnishing their application.
Why do you think the test optional policy occurs?
Well, because the SAT is really boring to take, and it's even more boring to study for. And though, people are lazy. So they looked at the SAT and pointed out that, the College Board was heavily exploiting students. So they decided to, fight back against the College Board. And they tried to make the SAT optional. And it worked.
Well, they have been changing the test a lot. Like, they used to have a much more complicated test. There used to be SAT subject tests.
Yes.
But again, those things really complicate the application process, and they don't really add anything new. Like, if you get a good score on an SAT subject test, but you get a D plus on the course, it kind of conflicts, and it's pretty much the same.
So in general, are you an advocate for the change, or?
Well, I don't really care about but I mean, because just because I'm good, because I'm good at taking the test, so I'm not an advocate for it because that's kind of taking away my advantage, but I don't mind.
Got it. Well, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, no problem.